78 here again. I'm back in my desert training facility, and we're making a fire. And I wanted to share with you some of the interesting things I have noted so far. So hang on. In front of you, piles and piles of what appeared to be dry branches, and then this is some of the wood that I processed yesterday, anticipating that fire would be no problem. Now, I'm going to pan up a little bit. Hang on with this, put up with the vertigo if you have to. There's a stream over there, all right, and that stream is running at the moment. It usually runs kind of low at this point. And as I pan around this way, if you're really paying attention, you'll notice telltale signs of a flood came through here. All right, now stand by. In the springtime, we had more rain here than we've had in a long, long time, and this the stream flooded. The downside to that is all the water will tear up things, move things in a tremendous fashion. So when I got out here and looked at all of the wood on the ground, I thought, "Great, this is great," because it hasn't rained in more than a month. But the flood wasn't. It was about a month ago. Most of that wood is still wet. But let me show you where you can get wood. Down in the stream bed, as you can tell, this is the kind of the dry shoulder of the stream bed. The stream is actually running right over there. That's beautifully cold water. We have some more of the branches that I just grabbed out of the stream, and I'm going to break them up, add them to these piles. Now, for those of you who haven't built a fire out in the woods for a while, how you start your fire is really important. You need to start with something akin to a bird's nest. In fact, that's what they call it, a bird's nest. So the flood put that together for me. It's been drying for a month, so it's all nice and crinkly and dry. And right here in the middle, I've made a bird's nest of all that fiber. Used to be the bark of the cottonwood tree down here. So you just roll it up between your hands, get it all nice and fuzzy, nice and fibrous. Here's the goal. In order to burn that stuff, and for size comparison, you're talking like twice a thumb size and bigger, up to about 3.5 inches. Okay, that's kind of the substantial wood that most people would consider their fire has to be made with. But in order to burn that, you have to get that dry. In order to get that dry, that energy has to come from something. All right, so what we're doing is we're busting up about finger-sized sticks in this pile, pencil and smaller sized sticks in that pile, and that is kindling. Now let me back up a little bit so you can see this. This is approximately, most of it's toothpick sized stuff. Some of it's approaching pencil sized. Normally, I would build, I've got a fire organization started a little bit in here. The wind is going that way, so the wind's going to blow down between these two logs and give me some draft. I'm going to take the bird's nest, start a fire in that with my ferro rod right here in this little bird's nest part, get that going, put that in the middle of there, and then take this pile of twigs, put it on top of that. Now normally I would feed it individually, but since we have to get a hot enough fire to burn, to dry all that stuff out, I'm not going to fool around. I have a very nice fire pit, as you may see. It's an established campsite in the National Forest, so it makes no sense to make another ring since this one's here. You can see the tripod and the chains holding up the grate. That's adjustable based on where you put the chains. So when I get this coals nice in here, we'll drop this down and cook on it. But before we get to that, we got to get these. So start with the bird's nest, then the twigs, then smaller twigs up to about pencil size, and then you go to the fingerish sized. Now here's the deal. This finger-sized wood has to keep the fire going long enough to get that stuff on the fire and dry. that's not going to burn. We know from last night that's not going to burn as soon as it gets put on the fire. So I need to generate a fairly good sized pile of finger sized, which is where all this other crap comes from. All right. Now these are all what they used to call squaw wood. It's all branches that were hanging up down in the stream. Hang on a minute. For those little fibers. So you want to beat up all of the hard dry material. It's going to catch a spark. Now when I start this, I'm going to try a technique that I saw somebody do the other day using a piece of glass and a ferro rod. And you're around an established campsite, you're going to have a piece of glass hanging around. There we go. It's on top because I'm trying to get a cooking fire going, and I got to dry out all that other big wood. Okay, pick these up so I know where they are. There we go. Don't even have to blow on it. This is excellent. Now if you were making a smaller fire, obviously you wouldn't put that much of the little kindling on here. But while that's going, now you start using your smaller than pencil size, catch all that heat. Now, I tend to use an awful lot of these little sticks because when things are wet, you've got to make sure that the fire keeps going. The only way you can do that with is small stuff. Okay, there we go. Now, if you notice, I created a channel between